Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadiens get a big win, massive win, a 4-2 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins, and that was a much needed win after the performance that they had in their last game at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And a great 60-minute performance for the most part. I mean, there are definitely some things that I think the Canadiens would like to clean up a little bit, looking back at the performance overall. But generally speaking, I think that was a great game all the way through. I mean, we started off hot. Obviously, Texier scores on kind of a little broken play. There was a couple of whiffed passes and things that went in our direction, and Texier was able to finish one. He sniped it in that top right hand corner. A huge goal to start things off, and it's always good to get an early goal there, give yourself a little bit of momentum. And then obviously, piled on a little bit more into the second period and into the third period. So an overall great performance. Obviously, you got to give a lot of credit to Jacob Fowler, who started and won his first NHL game today. A huge game for him. I felt like he gave us, kind of a poise and a confidence in net that we haven't really seen pretty much all season. So that was, definitely encouraging and definitely, begs the question, what happens now? But more on that in a bit. Going back to the game, obviously Texier gets the first one unassisted. A nice snipe from him. He's able to, Chris Letang tries to make a pass kind of across the ice in his own zone, and Texier is able to pick that pass off, come in and just snipe that one to the right corner. Nice goal from him. He hits his first as a Hab there, so great to see him getting on the score sheet there. You love to see that. But that ended up being the only goal of that first period. There were definitely some chances for Pittsburgh and Montreal in that first period that could have gone either way. Definitely some lingering defensive lapses there that are from the same kind of thing that we saw in previous games. But generally speaking, I thought the defense was pretty clean throughout this game. Definitely better than what we saw in the last performance on Tuesday. So definitely take that. Brendan Gallagher scores, less than 5 minutes into that second period. Hudson and Slafkovsky get the assists on that one. Slafkovsky had a great game as well. I thought Gallagher had a great game, obviously, too. Could have had, 2, maybe even 3 goals, Gallagher, but, he'll take the one where he can get it. It's his second of the season. Lane Hudson's 18th assist and Slafkovsky's 8th of the season, and the assist marks there. Gallagher, it's a nice snipe. It beats him top left corner this time. Jarry, it looked like, was very open on those top corners. But yeah, it's great to see Gallagher getting on the score sheet wherever he can. So yeah, it's good that, and then that's obviously a big goal as well. It gives us that 2-0 cushion, which we added to, 6 or so minutes later. Cole Caulfield gets his 17th goal of the season on the power play. Suzuki and Hudson with the assists there. Suzuki's got 26 assists on the year. Hudson, that was his 19th there. So great for them. Everybody who got points on that one. Cole Caulfield just able to kind of sneak that one. I think it must have gone because he was below the goal line, so I think it went off of Jarry's leg and in behind him. So it's kind of an own goal there from Jarry, but we'll take them how they come. Caulfield is always trying to do something sneaky like that. I feel like he's always trying to bank it off the goalie's mask or something like that and find a way to score from anywhere. And we know Cole Caulfield enough to know that he can score from anywhere, and he does that again today. And that was another, all of these goals very big. When they come in, we get that power play goal. The power play is still looking weird. I really don't know what Martin St. Louis is trying to do, and I don't think he knows. He really knows either. I think he's really just trying to find some sort of combination that works. Unfortunately, if we skip ahead to the game a little bit, that Ivan Demonov took a penalty while on the power play, which I'm sure Martin St. Louis loved to see that. So I'm not really sure what it's going to look like. I'm personally in favor of putting Demonov on that top power play unit, but I think it is definitely fair, especially after a loss that we had. The loss that we had on Tuesday to want to switch up the lines a little bit and just see what happens. But yeah, I think the first power play that we had in this game was absolutely terrible. Completely terrible. We didn't have anything. I don't even think we even set up in the zone the entire time. We were just chasing the puck for an entire 2 minutes. the only thing worse than that would have been getting scored on shorthanded. But yeah, like just completely terrible. But we're able to rally back and score on that one. And that ends the period 3-0. Owen Beck did score his first NHL goal, but then it was called back for Josh Anderson being like 5 millimeters offside, which is just heartbreaking for Owen Beck. He's been up and down from Laval in Montreal for like the last couple of years now. Obviously, a 2022 draft pick there, so it would have been really awesome for him to have gotten that goal, and he basically did. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like obviously it should be called offside, and like that's the rules, and it's pretty clear that, although it was close, I think Josh Anderson would probably say that he was offside there, but it's just one of those things. Is like that's not really the spirit of the rule, like Josh Anderson. Like if Josh Anderson was not even involved in the play, if he was just sitting, in our own zone during all that, Owen Beck still would have scored that goal. And so it's just like he just was a non-factor in there and just happened to be like literal like centimeters offside. So it's an unfortunate situation, but it takes away his first NHL goal, and that's tough. But regardless, we got the win, so doesn't matter too much. Owen Beck did play a pretty good game. Obviously I don't think we're gonna see him for the rest of the road trip here, because I think, assuming all things are going well with Jake Evans, I know he's out for personal reasons at the moment, so hopefully everything's okay with that. But it seemed like, I think the Canadiens tweeted that he would be coming back to the team for our game against New York, which is coming up here against on Saturday in New York. So I'm pretty sure we'll get him back for that game, unless something else is going on. So we're not really sure. But for the one game that Owen Beck did play, I thought he played a pretty solid game. I think he should be pretty happy with his effort. Obviously, he scored, and like it gets taken away. But even so, I think he had a lot of good chances and made his presence known out there, and that's kind of all you can hope for. So it'll be interesting to see like if he does stay, like maybe they even put him to the wing and take like Davidson or somebody off the roster or something like that. I'm not really sure what their plan is, but it should be interesting to see what happens there. So, and then Brian Rust unfortunately ends Jacob Fowler's streak of not letting in a goal in his NHL career. Obviously, that was going to be short-lived. That's just the way things go, but. And it was a nice pass, obviously. When Sidney Crosby's on the ice, you got to be careful about what he can do, and he finds a backdoor feed for Brian Rust, and he's able to kind of just squeak it by. It wasn't very clean, but it did find its way over the line, and that gave the Penguins some life very early in the third period. But then Slavkovsky took matters into his own hands and set up Kapanen for a goal. Pretty much, like 15 seconds, not even, later into the opening of the third period, and that I think was the biggest goal of them all. To like the Penguins, they get the offsides challenge it going in their favor. They score a goal to make it 3-1, and that 4-1 goal really just sucks the wind right out of the Pittsburgh Penguins there. Like it's a very different scenario coming down to the wire in that game if we don't get that 4-1 goal, because obviously Erik Karlsson scores just kind of a seeing eye shot, as they say. It literally it's found its way through to the corner, but Jacob Fowler had absolutely no vision there. Like Anthony Mantha was just standing right in front of him, screened him the whole way through. So that those goals will happen. Obviously, got to be a little bit better about clearing out the crease and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like going back to that goal, like that would have made it 3-2, and then the whole sequence with the empty net in the last like 2 minutes of the game would have been a lot more meaningful, nursing a 1-goal lead as opposed to a 2-goal lead. So a great play, and obviously, as I mentioned before, Slavkovsky I thought had a great game. He's looking really, really good recently, really taking control, and I feel like obviously like you see him kind of going up and down between the first and the second line, but I think it's it's very clear to me, at least, that Slavkovsky moving from the first to the second line is not really a detriment to, or not like an indictment of the way that Slavkovsky is playing as much as it is, an indictment of how the top six is playing in his absence. I think really they're moving Slavkovsky around to be a support to the lines that need the help the most. And you can really tell, like, when Slavkovsky gets out there with Kapanen and Demidov, things are happening and they're looking good. Obviously, Kapanen scores that goal because a nice play by Slav. He's able to kind of drive to the wide side of the net. He's able to find that wide open Kapanen flying back door and a quick easy goal. Demidov gets a cheeky third assist on that one. It's his 18th assist of the season, so keeping him in the conversation for the Calder. Obviously, talking about the Calder, Beckett Seneca is obviously, it looks like he's kind of running away with things as of late. I haven't checked the leaderboards as of now, but I think and coming into today, he had like a 3-point lead in terms of rookie scoring. Kapanen, though, I mean, I think he's tied for the rookie lead in goal scoring, so that's pretty impressive as well. I don't think anybody would have really thought that Kapanen would be a guy that's in the conversation for any rookie awards or anything like that, but he's certainly proving himself to be a very solid player for us, and obviously he gets that big goal there, so that's huge. As I mentioned before, Carlson scores that goal in the power play, but after that everything stands. I was waiting to see if Jacob Fowler would try for the empty net. I feel like there were two different opportunities he had to maybe make a stab at it, but he thought better of it, and I think that's probably the correct decision in your first NHL game. But man, would that have been something if he gets a win in his first NHL game and scores a goal? That would be something else. But I think he'll have to wait at least another game to see if he can pull that one off. But overall, a great win. I would say one of our best games of the season. Obviously, I think the biggest thing that I would say is still kind of lingering as a bit of an issue is some defensive lapses. I felt like our defensemen are still getting exposed a little bit too often. I felt like, unfortunately, Adam Engstrom did not have a very strong game today. He had a couple of moments, but also some moments negatively. He drew a penalty, or took a penalty. He did draw a penalty at one point, but took a penalty in the third period for just getting straight up beat in the blue line by Rutger McGroarty. So some opportunities there where I feel like he could have been a little bit better, and that's just kind of his age showing a little bit, which is understandable. But then like Struble making some mistakes there, like a lot of our defensemen just not really it's super solid at all times, and obviously like, we get away with it, we win the game there, but there's definitely some moments that could have gone the other way. Like it could have been a little bit less scary for the Canadians defensively if we play a little bit better. I think another thing is just like our passing could be a little bit better. I think finding some more tape to tape passes, stop like throwing the puck at people and all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely some things. I think the biggest thing that I saw negatively from this game that I wasn't really thrilled about was our discipline there. We took 6 penalties in that game after I'm just counting the app real quick. But yeah, 6 penalties in that game. That's not great at all. We definitely don't want to do that. We gave him a 5-on-3 at one point because Carrier just decided he wanted to like throw a random extra punch, which is just completely unnecessary, completely undisciplined. Like those are the kind of things that you can't do. Especially with Pittsburgh, I think they were the number one power play in the league. Obviously, they scored on one of our power plays, or one of the power plays that we gave them, but it's just like you got to be a little bit more disciplined. You can't expect to win games when you're sitting in the box all the time. Obviously, Demidov get that hooking penalty as well, which we don't love to see either, especially when it's on our existing power play. No matter what time is left of it, you would love to not go to the penalty box right after you just had an unsuccessful power play. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is just staying out of the box, being a little bit better defensively. But generally speaking, I mean, it's a very, very low bar. If you watched my last video, you would know how disappointed I was with the effort in Tuesday's game. It's a very low bar to beat, but I think it was a much better performance that we had today compared to that game and pretty much the last couple games. I mean, like, I feel like this is one of the more complete games that the Canadians have played all season. I think the Canadians definitely could have walked away with more goals than they ended up scoring today. But either way, yeah, like a 4-2 win is a very solid win. Definitely some moments where I thought like it might have gone, in Pittsburgh's favor. The ice kind of tilting in their direction. But I feel like. The goals that we scored were definitely big goals in the right moments, especially that Slavkovsky and Kapanen connection there. That goal is a huge one, and I think back to what I've been talking about recently with the Canadians being able to tilt the ice back in their favor, and that was a full 180 tilt back in our direction. All the momentum was on Pittsburgh's side after that goal right away to start the third period, and Slavkovsky and Kapanen completely tilted it back in the favor of Montreal. And I think genuinely speaking, I think that wins the game for the Canadians getting that goal there when we do. Because otherwise, you sit on that 2-goal lead there, and it becomes a 1-goal lead, and so I think it's a huge goal to get there. So yeah, I think that's generally speaking, it was a much better performance. Obviously, the goaltending, you got to give it up to Jacob Fowler. He gets his first career win. And the question now with our goaltending is how long does Jacob Fowler stay? Because obviously I think it's absolutely a breath of fresh air to watch a goalie play the way that Jacob Fowler just did. Very, very impressive play for him. And now, do you want to go back to Montembeault after seeing that performance? So it's definitely something that is interesting. I think they'll definitely keep him for the duration of this road trip at least. But I think he definitely made a very strong argument for staying in the NHL. I'm not sure how I feel about it and how that will impact his development as a whole. But generally speaking, I feel like it's going to be hard for the Canadians, front office and Martin St. Louis to say no, we don't want that performance to continue for the rest of the season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But I think maybe he gets another start, and maybe that decision gets made for itself, either positively or negatively for Jacob Fowler. But I would be kind of shocked to see him not get at least one more start in the NHL after the performance he had today. So we'll see what happens. But that's pretty much all I have for this game. Here we got a game on Saturday in Madison Square Garden here against the Rangers. So that should be a pretty good game. Obviously, the Rangers got the better of us in the first matchup that we had against them this season. Hopefully, we can get some revenge against them, but that all remains to be seen. Currently sitting, 1 point away from a spot in the playoffs right now. We're the first team out, the top team not in a wild card position. So getting the wins right now is a big deal, especially when other Atlantic teams are also winning big games. So that's all I have for you guys today. So hopefully I will see you after another big 2 points in Madison Square Garden on Saturday.